neighborhood, a lot of, we're going to fix that feedback right quick. A lot of shenanigans going on over here in the studio. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be, there we go. My neighbor. Now we okay. Hi, everybody. It is so nice out. I had to stop by wake of a beautiful woman, Miss Griggs, the mother of Terrence Griggs, who belongs here, and she was such a sweetie. That was my girlfriend, and she has gone on to be with the Lord, and so I was there, and one of the funeral homes was there, and he said, "Bishop, I want you to lead the body in." And I said, "I'm tired of working for y'all funeral homes and you don't pay me." So he said, "I'm paying you no attention. Come on now." But my heart goes out to the Griggs family. They did something a little different. They delivered her. They brought her on the horse and carriage, usually horse and carriage. So it was really nice to be able to share with that family. I got a box. Anybody else out there addicted to ordering? Because I remember when Amazon first came out, I wasn't ordering. I hated ordering, but now I'm not addicted. Let me see what this is.
Completely addicted.
Completely addicted. I ordered for the first time. I ordered shoes online. Just some regular black shoes. This is called unboxing online. So I am unboxing my latest purchase, and I'll tell you why. I'm tired of wearing baseball caps with suits. I mean, I know that's a Buffalo thing, or I'm grown. I need grown man stuff. So I went out, and those of you who are on the radio, obviously you can't see this, but I went out and I bought me a couple hats. Now, this is you see, the summertime sun. You got, ooh, whoo, huh?
Ooh, hold on. Let me get that lower third off you right there.
You gotta wear that while you cooking on the grill.
While I'm cooking on the grill? No.
No, that's a straw hat.
We got a lot to talk about today. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, daddy. Oh, shucky now. Shucky. Hey, everybody. Listen, I got a few things I want to talk about today. And number one, did I invite you to my show? Well, you just showed up. Probably on my clock, too, getting paid. Sit up here.
Don't start rumors.
Anyway, I just left. I'm going to give y'all the address. What? Emsley Street. Because it was right around the corner from where the funeral is being held, where the homegoing is being held. A big old church on Emsley, in between Emsley and Clinton over there. I mean, around there. It is horrible. I talked to those people last year. You know, I don't mind exposing bad landlords. And the neighbors coming out on their porch thanking me. End of the day, that building has gone from one hand to the other. I want to talk about these, I call them slumlords that we have around here. Now, this couple who bought this place promised me, what they tell me? We're going to put in a skating rink. Really?
And a jump park.
And a jump park.
Yes.
And they haven't even put in a window. The doors are all kicked in, front door wide open. The parsonage or the convent on one side, you can walk right in. All they do is come chop up the grass. It's horrible. Glass all over the place.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is we still got housing court closed except for emergencies. We need housing court open. Let me see this address because I want these people, I want them in court. But what are we doing so that you know? I'm trying something different on the council. And I'm starting investigations on these larger properties and these properties that have been sitting. Now, here's the deal. Let me see. Here's the address. 198 Emsley, 198. The problem is I got to get the people before the council. So I'm having a whole list of houses written up in a resolution to begin an investigation into long-term property derelict. Now, that's one thing. If you got a gutter falling, I ain't messing with it. It's one thing if your house is chipping or something, whatever, and you're an occupant, you living in it, you're struggling, trying to get through. Pridgen is not coming for you. Pridgen will come and try to help you, connect you to somewhere.
And I was going to say, and also seniors that are struggling.
Absolutely.
Struggling to maintain their property. We're not coming after attacking.
Not doing it. I think that's disrespectful. But folks who go out and buy these properties and let them sit, and a lot of them are from out of town. But some of them, like this couple, I believe is from Buffalo. Now, I was trying to work with them, but the neighbors shouldn't have to live next door to that crap. That's unfair. And then they go home, I bet you wherever they live, you'll have your computer over there, do you? Is it here? I want you to look up 391 Emsley. I want to know. I'm saying it. 391. Did I say 391?
198.
Where did I get 391? What is that? Right. Oh, that's what.
Yeah. But you wanted the property owners, right?
No, but I mean, I know that, but I want to know that who owns it. Yeah. So I'm tired of it. I said the title from one person to another person. I told them in the beginning, you're not a jump park. Oh, and what did I say? If you can make it work, go talk to the neighbors. Yeah, but now you got to find the owner.
Hold on, I'm on the button.
You looking at it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I put up we've been pretty successful in the slumlord signs. Because when we put up the slumlord signs, we put the owner's name and last known address so that the neighbors can bombard them. Now, I'm going to say again, this is not for somebody living in their house and they got a code violation. But these folks who have the means.
It's owned by Rugo Holdings, Inc.
See? An LLC.
Yep.
And this is, so what happens, folks, when people buy some of these properties, they put it in a limited liability corporation, and there's a veil of protection for the individual. I know everybody wants to preserve everything. I think it needs a wrecking ball. Now, I said it, call Preservation Board and tell them I said it. Because they'll come along, and others will come along and say, we got to save it. Then save it. Find somebody. But that's what I heard about the doctor's building on High Street. Yep. We don't want it knocked down. That thing is still sitting there. And a couple years ago, a couple people want to blame me for that building sitting there. What you want me to do? You got neighborhood people who say, some neighborhood people, who say, oh, we want to keep it. And then you keep it, and then you put it out there for bid. We're trying to sell it. Now a new developer comes along, and the developer wants to knock it down. I'm okay with knocking it down, but the community is not. So if the community, which made it a landmark building, not me, this is what I was asked to do, power to the people. So now the new developer can't knock it down because it was advertised that you had to develop that building.
Or a portion.
Or a portion. Leave the front door, for crying out loud. Keep a window and put it in the... I tell you what St. Paul AME Zion Church did. If you've ever been in St. Paul AME Zion Church, I believe they took windows from the old building and incorporated them, not on the outside, but inside of the building so that you always had it. And that was after it went through an explosion. But you can't save everything. I mean, come on. You really, really can't. There are some things beyond repair, and I would love to see over on Emsley new houses for people to buy that are affordable.
And I will say, because that is a lot of property over there, it would take, and I know people hate to admit it, that's going to take a larger developer with the expertise of renovating that whole property if you're trying to save the bones. Like, it's not going to take the average person to get that kind of money to restore and renovate and
Absolutely.
get back online.
Maybe we can help Tim Newkirk because he said, let me get that building, Bishop. I really wish you could get that building. You think, and I'm not playing. I think you'd do something well with it. Have the church there and have the other side and do affordable housing.
Yeah, there's 3 buildings on that property.
Yep. And I saw, is it? I only saw the 2.
That's what the city website says.
Yeah, one is gone.
That's
Because all you have is the
church,
the church, the convent, and there probably was a parsonage.
It says a school. It was
Yeah.
a convent, school, and the church.
Yeah, I walked the property. Unless I missed it, it might be way on the other side, but it needs to be gone. Now, so tell me any other properties, and we're trying to work on this summer. I'm looking for a crew of 1 or 2 to police. Wrong word. Lord have mercy.
Be careful.
To care for the streets of Ellicott. And what I mean by that, I need a litter crew. I hate litter. It drives me crazy. I know somebody probably saying, you can't hate. The Bible says these 6 things the Lord hate. One of them is an abomination. God hates. I hate litter. And I'm looking for somebody with their own transportation who will be not only on call, but just riding around Ellicott cleaning up every day of the summer. And who we could dispatch to different places when we have our constituents call. Now, I want to say this because Henry Jackson over at the city and Corey McDaniel, they're doing a wonderful, when we call them, what is his name?
Courtney.
What did I call him, Corey?
Corey.
Just like my dad, I'll call you a different name now. They are doing a wonderful job when we call them to come clean up, but I want somebody all day long for 8 hours. And and I'm looking for an organization, I'm looking for a business, but they can't be doing like 5 other things. They got to be dedicated this summer to Ellicott District. Because I know I told y'all before, it's a crying shame to see grown people, and obviously I see it every day, pull up to a light and just start cleaning out their car. Just clean out their car. One of my boys' chores now is got to clean up outside. Because every single day, the city doesn't have enough resources to clean up after everybody who decides to eat a McDonald's and then throw it out your car. You don't litter, do you, grandson? Not no more. Did you used to? Why?
I did too.
Really? I mean, I'm just trying to get in the psychology of it before I start talking about all these homicides in a minute. Just lazy? And is there no thought of when I throw this out, somebody's got to pick it up, or where's it going to end?
Well, that's why I kind of stopped, because I picked up something before and they got aggravated. Like,
You got aggravated. I just, the philosophy of that.
Yeah, I was bad.
The philosophy. And when I'm sitting in the window, I just see people just, like the whole bag.
Of McDonald's. Everything that everybody in your car ate is now in front of our house.
And somebody is saving up their lottery tickets.
Every week.
They roll past.
Really?
No, not one.
I know.
It's usually like 30 or 40.
And don't let it be rain there or snow.
So
that's the worst. Picking up that wet paper. Oh.
Well, one of the boys, we got the little things, the tongs. We got one of the boys went out the other day picking up the garbage, and he rushes in the house and goes, "Papa, look what I found." I'm like, "What? Did you bring that in from outside?" "A lottery ticket." I said, "Don't bring in anything from outside in this house." Carolyn Lane on Facebook says, "I will say when I go into the suburbs, not any glass or trash." So what does that say about the city? Well, what does it say about the city? What does it say about the people?
Yeah.
Because it's the people. The city cannot clean up every bit of trash that gets thrown down every single day.
And also, the same people who litter in the city know better. Like,
Well,
when
they don't
go to-
litter
when
in
they
the
go to
suburbs.
Amherst, they're not throwing it out of their
They ain't
window.
throwing it out
So-
because somebody behind them is going to write down that license plate number.
it might cuss you out.
And you're going to get told off. They don't do it in the city. I mean, they only do it in the city. Lakeisha and Benning Cameron, you got a lot of names on there. And they just don't care. You're right, Lakeisha. Katrina Martin Bordeaux is cracking up. Carolyn Lane says, I do too, but these lazy people need to clean up in front of their own homes.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's at times that they're lazy. I think it's a shame when you got to go outside. Now, I do agree if the people who live there, if they're causing trash, you should clean it up. I mean, I got to clean it up.
But it's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Every time you go outside and the front of your house looks like crap, and it's not your fault. That
And
is annoying.
after a while, you get tired. That's what I said earlier. People are so lazy. I agree, Carolyn. I think we're on the same page. They are lazy, and I don't like it. But it's beyond like you
It's
said.
not-
You
it's-
used to
it's
do it
not
because laziness. So
It's not lazy.
what you?
As someone that was terrible at it,
Really?
I would be on the highway. I would not so much in neighborhoods, but definitely like on the highways. I would cups out the window
And no thought of the.
no thought. And it was, I think, as someone said, it was. I didn't care. Somebody will get it.
That's just crazy.
But I do think it is a mindset of if I'm looking at an area or a neighborhood that isn't taking care of their neighborhood themselves anyway, I'm like, oh, might as well add to it. But that's, I mean, that was a younger mindset.
And I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
No, but that same mindset would segue you into homicide.
Yeah, it is because I'm going to talk about our mental health. Lakeisha says, can you think of what their house looks like? Their house is probably fine
Right, because all the garbage.
because they don't take any garbage in the house. Their house is probably fine. I mean, look how neat and clean Mark is, and he was throwing the cups out of the window.
Yeah.
And he gets a manicure.
Oh,
Show him your
what does
nails,
that
Mike.
have to do
No,
with
no. I'll probably get one this weekend, but no, not right now.
Would you throw the garbage out with those nails?
Are you kidding me?
I mean, it is a community issue that is big, y'all. And I know I'm playing a little bit with Mark, but at the end of the day, I am agitated.
The girls be throwing them out with
Who?
the pearls and diamonds on their nails.
That's true.
I need a crew, so contact the office because I'm looking for at least. I'll start with one, but I just want them, huh?
They can call.
You can call anywhere you
Call the
want.
church office.
You can call any office you want to.
I think Tim said this before. We need the crying Native American back on top of the expressway. I remember. You don't remember that? Do you? Oh no, he too young.
I probably wasn't here for it.
So no, this was a national commercial,
Oh.
and it was a person crying, a Native American who was crying about trash, and basically destroying the earth. Jim Woodard, 2 people literally parked in front of my home and started cleaning their car out. I know. Came out and told them to put it back. She put back in big letters in their car. So yesterday, was it yesterday? My days are so, when I tell you I've had so many homegoings and so many unfortunate situations of homicide, and I think we have one, no, tomorrow, I don't think I know. And so my days are just running into each other. And on top of that, we were doing the city budget, which is a labor-intensive couple of weeks. So I have I'm really just kind of worn down and not worn out, because I'm going to preach Sunday, Lord says the same, and keeps me here, and I'm not pushing up daisies. Well, I'm not going to be pushing up no daisies. I'm going in that mausoleum, Birchwood, matter of fact, right across from Shirley Chisholm. I wonder, can you rent out mausoleum space? Because I got a double. I mean, if somebody needs to be there temporarily.
Rent out?
Because it's like real estate. I can sell my mausoleum.
Right.
I can sell it.
Right, but I'm
So why can't I rent
what
it?
does that
Rent
look
it
like?
until you die?
Like, let's say, or something, I could be making money off of it, like an Airbnb.
And so when they remove
No, now
the
when
person,
people start doing it, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
it's just the physics of like trying to move a dead body and then like
No, it'll be in the casket.
I mean, it's in the cat. Yeah, I was going to say.
Let's
it's in the
say
casket.
like somebody is in the winter and they can't dig and something like that, and I could rent out mine so that they can just place them in there temporarily and then take them out, and I get money like Airbnb.
Like a refrigerator.
You know, May is mental health.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's talk about it. I think what?
Let's talk about it.
Why is everybody laughing?
You went from this.
No, because she said it's a good segue into what I want to
it
talk
was
about.
the same minds. I was saying like the
The
mindset.
littering
of-
mindset.
Yeah,
Not
but I was
renting
saying
out
like
a
the
casket.
Oh yeah, I did go. I went because I said I was preaching Sunday. So it went left. So yesterday, we did a homegoing. Tim Newkirk was right there. He's always there. Very proud of him. And like I said, I was tired, and I was hurt because we buried a kid. He's not a kid, a man who was simply helping his dad change a tire. No, not a gangbanger. 10 friends, male friends, all of them, well, I don't know them all, but doing well in their life, dressed appropriately to represent their family. Matter of fact, the family wouldn't let you bring T-shirts in. They said they wanted no T-shirts. They wanted none of that. The young men all had on bow ties in both funerals that we had. They all had on bow ties with clothes that fit. And so this is where, and a reporter called me with the normal things. And we say the normal things all the time, and the normal thing's not working. Because what do we normally say when they call? Well, it's the violence. Well, it's gangs. Well, it's this. I think it goes beyond. I really, really do. And I believe that it goes to mental health. Because just like, who said, I think Carolyn was talking about, Carolyn Lane, you go to other places and certain things don't happen. Now, it's economics too, but let me tell you what I think. I think part of the mental health problems also is related to the economic problem. Yes. And when people for so long have not had and then don't know how to get, and then make choices in their life that it makes it harder to get, and now you have all that pressure and nowhere to release it, relieve it, or get help. And I don't mean that there's no place out there.
Right.
Because right now in our community, we got places like in Best Health. We have community health centers. But there is such a hesitation and a stigma on getting help. And I think first of all, we will never have enough mental health services. So thank you to those who have dedicated your life to that. We will never have enough, but we have trauma. Like, this is trauma. And, I look at the little children who are coming up. There's a little kid on my block who out riding. He has one of those electric scooters. And I don't know why every time I see him, because he's so, this is where I get mad. He's so proper all the time. Hi, sir. And I think to myself, that shouldn't be the exception to the rule.
Right.
That should be normal. But it seems like we have normalized things like littering, not taking care of our communities, things like crime. And I talked about this yesterday at the homegoing. It's like it becomes normal. And if you say something, you're a sellout. if you try to change it, why are you getting involved with it? We have to start thinking this is mental. And people have been through such trauma. This is what I believe. And it doesn't have to mean that you had a death in your family to go through trauma. Living in poverty can be traumatic.
Very traumatic.
And when you don't know how to get out of it and you don't feel like there is a way out, you continue to do what you need to do to fit into a scene. And so you've got areas where crime is just kind of accepted. And it's a part of the way that things are. It's the culture. Veronica Ivy, thanks for getting on. She says, Maslow's hierarchy of needs normalized dysfunction. I agree. She says, it's sad. Carolyn Lane said, I need a break. Thank you, Carolyn. I do. I really do. And Jay Heath says, not normal at all. But the question is, here's what I propose, because I said it, but how do you get there? Like, how do you get there? Like, even the church, we started a ministry where people could get on Zoom during the pandemic to talk. Very few people did. And maybe it's because, I mean, I don't think people in the church are more mentally healthy than people who are not, but I think at times they have an outlet. And at times they have maybe more information being poured into them to try to make a change. You know, I think about yesterday and mostly all of those, the funerals that resulted from a homicide. You get all of these young people who really, really want to make a change.
Yep.
And if you don't talk at them, but if you talk to them, and that's always my goal of preaching, is like, don't talk at people. Don't now get on your high horse because you're 56 and maybe made it through some things, but talk directly to them, and you just see that desire. To our young people don't want to just do bad. But if there's very few people around who shows that love and that understanding and who puts up guardrails, you got to put those guardrails up early. Because if you don't, it's very hard to change a man. I forgot what I read the other day. I think I read that to you. It's easier to change a boy than to change a man.
Absolutely.
And if we don't start doing that now, and sometimes, and I know the majority of people who listen to the show or who watch it are mature people. It's the mature that has to put up the boundaries. And even for our adult sons and daughters at times, you got to be able to say, like, that ain't right, and let them be mad at you. But listen, I don't meddle in my adult, it's so hard not to say children because of that class I took. In my adult sons and daughters' lives, I don't meddle. I do not meddle. But don't ask me my opinion if you don't want to know it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to tell you. Or if I think something is so dangerous to your life, I still have a responsibility to say, you can make that decision, but I think it's dumb as hell. Hey. So anybody have any ideas? I don't know the answer. How do you get masses of people? And I mean, we do it in church constantly. You know, I think about what I have to preach at church compared to what's being taught in the suburbs. They just talking about the love of Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all. Listen, I can't go a month without talking about attitudes, without talking about just so much stuff.
Yep.
But I think that's important. When the reason why I think when young people come here and they seem so, and it's because at this moment I have hope.
Yeah.
When you are living in poverty, and even if you have faith, it's very difficult to ignore outside of your window. It's very difficult to ignore when I walk outside what I see. It's difficult to see that there is something. And especially now, you have social media, you have all this stuff. It's just like, it's no hope. I want to get to this goal. But then after a while, and even people who have a lot become depressed or they make terrible decisions. But when you're not wealthy, you make the decisions, it ruins your life.
Yeah.
But you know where you want to go, you know what you want to have when you're a little kid. There's a difference between a person growing up in Williamsville and then growing up in the Langfield. When you're a kid, you have all these dreams. And when you're living in poverty, those dreams before you're 10, it's kind of like, I know that's what you want to grow up, but you better do this, and you might have to, don't think you're too good to go get food stamps. So it's already at a young age putting those things into your head. And I think that a lot of our community is functionally depressed. And I think that even the professionals are functionally depressed. And I know mental health professionals that are right now depressed. So it's difficult to try to get everybody together when I think a lot of our community is trying to figure it out too.
How do we take that stigma off of, because, like I said, we've got centers right in the center of our community. I know, now I'll be transparent. I know I probably wouldn't go to a council on Bailey. I'm
not going in New York State.
And the reason is because obviously I don't believe HIPAA has enough protections, so I won't. But now we're in a day where you can do counseling right on the computer. But the people who probably need it the most,
lack of access,
they're just not going to do it.
They're not going to do it because of lack of trust. If you come from a hood, you don't trust anybody. If you come from a certain lifestyle, so if we're talking about the gun violence and the boys that are the people who are doing this, I don't trust anybody at all. I can't, because it's life or death. And I think that's a part of the reason why they're not going to get mental help, because it's like, you're going to tell somebody and so they just get over it.
Well, and it's funny that you use that word, because when you were talking about hope, my word was going to be trust. And I think growing up in certain situations, you don't have a trust in anything.
Basic trust versus
I don't trust government. I don't trust the church. I don't trust my own family half the time. So you grow up like, I'm on my own. I'm gonna figure this out on my own. And then you spiral down just grabbing the bits and pieces of things, like you said. Well, don't shun public housing. So like, all right, well, that's my new goal. One person I did trust said, do public housing.
Yeah.
And then that's where my cap is.
Yeah.
Reality too.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like a lot of older people, when they talk to us younger people, they tell us stuff as if it would be easy. There is going to be hard times.
Absolutely.
Or, things like that. So
Absolutely. So if you didn't hear, my grandson in the back said that, when older people tell younger people stuff, they don't basically don't tell them about the struggle. And that's why, I try to be as transparent as I can. Whenever I'm talking about this, I always say this. This is not a brag. This is the truth. When I start talking about having a Cadillac that didn't go in reverse, when I start talking about leaving a job at the post office to pastor a small church and having to work, we would sit here literally 2 and 3 in the morning. No secretary. I did the bulletins. I still got the bulletins I used to type. I did the newsletter. In the beginning, you gotta hustle, and it's hard. And you're right. If you don't tell people, if they just see you, don't know what you've been through to get there, and then mad because you're there. But I understand the madness if you got a level like you said that you want to get to, and it's like, well, why him or why her? It's not easy. I love what Veronica Ivy right now is saying on Facebook. She says, there is a stigma in the church. Mm-hmm. Sadness and depression are associated with the devil.
Absolutely.
And I feel we need to break out of that mindset. If we are not properly labeling issues, we can't fix them.
Yep.
I agree.
My church back home, we always used to talk about that. Sometimes your sins need to be exposed so you can actually come out of the issue. Because sometimes if you can just hide under certain things, the church term is the deliverance can never happen because you're hiding behind the fact that nobody knows.
Yeah.
So normally there is a lot, like she said, once you expose it, once you can actually label it, this is the real issue, then you can actually heal the issue.
I agree. You know, Veronica's just on it today, and I'm not ignoring anybody else, but it just says one way you can have a bigger imagination and bigger goals is reading, but the illiteracy rate in Buffalo is so high. Wow. And it is really wild she say this because I'm limiting the boys' game time because they're kids. They finish school, they do their chores, and it's right to the game room. Yep. And I started realizing, no. There's got to be more. You got to expose them to more than sitting in the room all day playing a game. Yep. The game, it used to be watching TV, and the TV became the babysitter. Now the game room becomes the babysitter, and you can't do it. I just want to build with my people. Yeah. Thank you, Katrina. So I think that I don't have an answer, but I know where some of the problems are. And I agree, even, in my roles with the church, that we have to lift that stigma. You have to talk about this more than 1 month. This has to be an okay thing to do. And if anybody out there knows of any virtual counseling, and I want to check, I'm probably going to check with Felicia Stanley, because I know she has a new business now that she's doing some things. But I think that virtual counseling I think everything's going to be virtually pretty soon, almost everything. Same way gas is going to be gone and you ain't going to be buying gas cars. I think that sooner or later, most of life is going to happen through a computer. Intentional efforts. Yes. I agree. And that's Veronica Ivy. So I think that we have to really dig into this deeper. We look at the city budget, by the way, and I know I'm mixing a lot of stuff, but one of the things that I wanted in the city budget, and budgets are about compromise, and I compromised this one to ask the administration to look at it over the next year, but I want to see mental health professionals on during the night. Mm-hmm. We only have them on from like 8 to 6, and then they're gone. And all weekend when you're having, what I don't want to see, I want to continue seeing where police don't have to try to act like mental health specialists, because they're not. Right. They are not trained to do that. At the end of the day, these teams that have been going out on calls, they have been very effective from what I'm hearing. Yep. The majority of people who would have went to jail when it's a mental health call, when it's decided it's a mental health call, because some people say, well, we don't want the police to go at all. But here's the difficult part, folks. When you call 911, you're calling police. You didn't call crisis services. You're calling the dispatch number, and until they can deem that it is mental health, somebody has to get to a scene.
And even if you do see police on the scene and it's a no mental health, what we learned was they're there to make sure that no one else gets hurt.
Absolutely. And I have seen the team in action with my own eyes. And I've seen police back off and leave the scene, and nobody went to jail several times. So I really tried to get that later person, but it's so complicated, because you got police contracts, you have an agency that we're using, partnering with, but I want to see where we have people, because, listen, I've been out on my bike. Mm-hmm. And if I had to have come home high at least one day. Because when you riding through the park, I guess they said it's legal. You riding through the park, if a car window open and it's only slightly open and it's 80 degrees, you know what's coming out of it. I'm concerned about our people. I'm so concerned because you can go to areas, and I don't think the only thing is poverty, by the way. So I want to be clear about that. Because I've gone to countries that have higher rates of poverty than Buffalo,
Absolutely.
and the people are happy.
Yep.
Look, I've been to people's houses that have no bathrooms in it.
Then they living their best life.
And they're
But
fine.
their mother was, and their
You,
grandmother
you,
was.
you said what?
I said, but their mother probably was, and their grandmother was probably too. I think that we're broken people birthing and raising broken people, not on
Yep.
purpose.
I agree.
But I just think that there are so many adults and grandparents and great aunts and aunts who haven't moved on from the little kid. They had kids, but they haven't moved past the trauma that they dealt with as
Yeah,
children.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so now, instead of raising your child, you're raising your child based off of your trauma. And so now your ideals and your child's ideas come from, okay, don't do this because this happened to me. But now they're not telling you that this happened to them, but we're raising our children so that to try to save them from our trauma that they may not
And it's
even.
interesting that you said it that way because, and definitely not a mental health, but I think in Psychology 101, they teach you that when you face adversity, you tend to refer back to childhood.
Yeah.
So your reactions are your childhood reactions, not what you've learned. So it's the same complex that if you don't get that decent learning skills and dealing with adversity early, then
Think
you are
about
45 at responding like a child.
Right, because you didn't. When we're young, we think, I can't wait till I grow up so I don't have to deal with this. And we don't deal with it.
No.
We don't deal with that emotion or that issue. And from myself, like correcting my behavior when an adult or an authoritative figure that was an authoritative figure says something, and I may not agree with it, but you automatically go to that 12-year-old. And so in your head, the first thought is probably like, this is why I don't come over here, instead of addressing it. So all we did was get older. We never grew up, and we
Wow.
never grew past
Yeah.
it. And I think that's what's
Got
happening.
older, but never grew up. Veronica says hospitals have interdisciplinary teams. The police department needs one too. We do have something similar to that, the lead team, but it's at night we need it
Behavioral
most.
health unit.
Yeah. Oh, right. And Tashelle, she's talking about the marijuana. She said, yes, it's bad. I've gotten lightheaded from book bags. Your development stage is stunted at the age you experienced the trauma. So as you all were talking, my mind was going. And I think I'm going to start inviting mental health professionals on the show and having a topic, so that every show is different, but that they can help us to understand some things. I think I'm going to do that. I mean, obviously I can't do it every week, but I got to put my money where my mouth is. And I think if we know, that we have mental health issues when it comes to homicides, let's be honest. We need to probably talk about that and hear the advice from professionals. How do you deal with mourning? How do you deal with grief? How do you deal with anger? How do, our children's issues? How to get unstuck. I mean, I know for a long time I was stuck in one space, and I remember just doing something that I heard somebody else do and writing a letter about it and then tearing it up and burning it, and I moved on. It was like, okay, all right. But everybody doesn't have, and still there are things I probably have not moved on from and need it. On the talk yesterday, they dealt with mental health awareness. This is Danetta McKinnon. They stated that they were changing to mental health action as it is ongoing and we need to take action. Yeah, I think we need to spend some time. So I'm going to reach out to some people I know, get them on the show, so that we can talk about some things and get some tools to try to help us. Because that's what we're missing.
Right.
Yeah.
We're missing the tools. We can see all the brokenness, But if you don't have the tools to fix it, then you just gonna stay broken. Okay. You know, there's times in your life where something hits and you go like, you got a platform to do that, so don't just talk about it.
And I was going to say, I agree. I think it has to be on a myriad of topics that also include church, right? Because I think you got to start, or somebody with some church background, so you can start peeling back that stigma. Because if I'm constantly hitting that top layer, I'm not getting to the issues anyway. So we literally got to start like peeling back to start healing the deeper wounds.
And I agree with you on that because, well, all of this about the action.
Yeah.
Because if someone calls and talks about it, that week may not be for me, but while they're giving tips, there may be trauma that you had that I don't know how to deal with you when you go to that place of wherever you were traumatized. But I may have been traumatized in a different way. Like nobody's the victim.
Yeah.
And we can all be compassionate toward each other. Because some people are like, well, you went through that. Well, I went through this and that's worse. Everybody experienced trauma in different ways. And I think that's such a good idea to not only have a safe space for somebody to talk about it, but also while they're talking about this is how you grieve or this is, you know, I can learn as a friend or a loved one or something. I'm listening to this show. Okay, now I know, ooh, when I did that, that triggered that in that person. And vice versa the next week.
Yeah.
Because we've all have experienced some type of trauma. And we don't know how to deal with ourselves and our emotions. But we also don't know how to deal with each other or have compassion for each other. And I think that'll help.
We already got a volunteer to come on sometime. Veronica Ivy says, I would come on the show. I have my LMSW.
I figured.
Well, from what she was talking, right?
She was
Some of the
dropping
stuff
in the comments.
she was putting. Veronica, inbox me a number to reach you at, please, because
I think I have her number.
You got Veronica's?
Yeah.
All right. Carolyn Lane, we also need to talk to these young people, young children, about domestic violence and dating too many killings. And it's because we don't talk about abuse, and abuse is not physical. You know, that's another thing that we don't talk about. We don't talk about sex in young people. We just expect or dating or we just don't talk about it. It is
that
like
goes back to
go away.
Ray Sean.
Yeah.
So when you talk to them about dating or talk to them about certain things, it's kind of like, don't do this. And if you don't do this, your reward will be great when you're older. And then when life hits, it's like, hold on, you said.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, I don't know if that's what you meant by that, but like when you tell like, okay, don't, sex
Right,
is
you don't
just
say
don't do
it's
it.
gonna be difficult.
Dating is don't do it. Not have friends and beyond it, or or whatever. It's just based on don't do it. And so then they think, okay, if I walk the straight and narrow like my mom, grandma, aunt told me, this is how my life is going to turn out. And that's just unrealistic. And I think when we're honest and just say, hey, you're going to have some rough days, try to just be a good person, try to do that, it'll kind of prepare them better.
Especially when the church just keeps throwing scriptures at you. You know, if you, like you said, walk the straight and narrow, God will order your steps. And
Order your steps, you're going to be right in the shelter.
Right.
Be like, wait a minute.
And it's not what you said.
People are giving like different places where you can go to. Somebody says Emma Macadam on YouTube. She talks about rewiring the anxious mind. Emma Macadam. You will not forget that name.
That might be McAdam.
I said it the way I said it, so people will remember. Because she spelled it in all caps. YouTube.
There's YouTube. YouTube is good. YouTube is really good. Like if you have anxiety, you can really type in anything, and YouTube will really.
Danetta says Talkspace is a virtual counseling. See, I want to do virtual counseling without showing my face.
But do you want to see their face?
Heck yeah.
Oh my God.
I want to see if I tell them something, they'd be like, ooh. Wow, you've been to hell and back. Oh.
But they probably want to look you in your eye to make sure you're not going to do nothing.
Don't want it.
No, this is what he want to see.
Don't.
He want to see when they go,
Like, what you writing for? What do you think? I have people I talk to. However, I need we probably all need a
So
professional.
I'm not gonna lie. So about 2005,
Uh-huh.
I was a few years out of high school. You know what I really wanted to do as a profession?
What?
Be a pastoral psychologist.
God bless you.
Because I feel like pastors need a place to go.
Oh, where pastors can go.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
some denominations have that. Like I know that the Roman Catholic Church, they have that. I know that some of the Assemblies of God, and then they do stuff like, because one of my friends who pastors in the Lutheran Church, he was trying to get me to, he went on a retreat for a year. And he's like, you need to go. I think he's Presbyterian now. Maybe the retreating.
You know what?
I ain't going back. I ain't going back. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. Here's my point. He wanted me to you should take off a year. I thought
Oh, the whole thing is a year?
Oh, he said, yeah. He
I
took
would
off
need
for a
another
year.
counselor, a mental health specialist after that.
First
Come
of all, y'all know how us is. I'm gone for a year. I'm coming back to.
Nobody.
Nobody knows the trouble I
Big old
seen.
building. Maybe you can
And
make
that's
a
a shame
trampoline
in
park.
itself. That's really a shame. Because I grew up Methodist. You didn't go to the church because of who the pastor was. You went to the church because that's the church you belonged to. I couldn't take off a year if I wanted to take off a year. But they do for mental health action.
And
I'm
I
gonna
do
keep
think
saying
you're
it.
seeing
Mental
a little
health
bit
action.
more of that. I think we talked about one article on the show where the pastor said he had preached like 5,000 sermons.
I loved
and
when
he took like 2 months off.
Yep.
And just went away from church.
He said, I'm gone.
Yeah.
He said, I want to read the Bible and not have to be preparing for a sermon.
Wow.
Right.
He said he wanted to wake up and not have to go anywhere. And he just stood in a mega church.
Yep.
He was like,
On a Sunday morning.
I'm gone. I'm gone. And he did.
But he knew how to recognize. He probably knew he was mentally
Burnt
like,
out.
I'm gonna mess up my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose it on the wrong person.
So let me sit
So
down.
let me step away. But not everybody knows their limit.
They really
or they just
don't.
try to push themselves, and especially pastors or leaders. It's just like I could do it, until your body. A lot of times, if it's you, people like you, your body will be like, sit down, and you.
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
Like, but you'll go.
And then
But I vacate. I take off.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to take off and feel very guilty. And I'll be honest, in this year, I may have been away, but I never took off. So I've always been available. I've always conducted meetings from where I'm at and tried to squeeze in some me time. But I do.
But that's
I do.
been even. I mean, we could go on honeymoon. We could go anywhere.
Yeah,
You're
I worked.
always. You wouldn't even for our honeymoon. You was like, we ain't getting a week.
Yeah.
I gotta be back before Sunday. So like you
and
just.
you always say that to me. I'm always working.
But
That's what I say every
after
day.
COVID,
And
it's
then
a
I'm like,
little
I'm not
bit like
calling
you're
you.
more mindful of that.
Yeah.
Of like being okay.
It is getting better. I'm
Yeah.
getting better at it. I'm not there yet. Right now, if I want to take off a week, there's always somebody that passes. Always. I mean, I've been on vacation. Maybe I'm having a mental health moment myself. I've been on vacation and got on a plane to come back home during vacation,
Sure have.
do a funeral, and catch the next flight back to wherever I was.
have.
And
Think about every anniversary we've had.
yeah,
6 years, going on 7. You've
Yeah.
done a funeral either that day. Like we've never been away.
Yeah.
For that.
So it's important, you all, and I am. Katrina says, "Love
I
it,
was
so
gonna
real."
say, and you gotta, and we as the believers and the non-believers have to stop judging pastors or those in charge when there is a fall, or because we've have a string of pastors who have overdosed.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to keep this life all the time. So then you're like the street. You're trying to find whatever can keep me on that level and keep going. And then you find them in a hotel room.
Yeah,
and you're
it
like,
has been a lot, and
Yeah.
and I mean, it doesn't. Obviously, people don't advertise about when people take their lives, news and all that. But there have been a lot, and I guess I could say it going into being here 26 years. There have been years, and not based on True Bethel, to be very, very honest. I have had a wonderful time pastoring True Bethel, but just all of the pressures that come along with that,
Right.
and taking on the responsibilities. And I think I told Mark one day, I said, if I quit, a lot of people are unemployed.
Oh yeah, it was the heaviest thing
Yeah,
you said to me,
yeah.
and since I've known you.
Yeah, I have to always be conscious. But I'm going to do that, you all. I am going to bring on a mental health person on the next live show that I do. And we're going to talk about mental health action. I want to keep saying that, so remind me when I forget it. Tim, yeah, he was calling from out of town asking what happened. I do. And especially when I need to know what happened, I call Tim like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? And he'd be like, Tim knows everybody. He's like Rhonda.
I was giving.
They know every single body.
Every single body.
Rhonda, who is this? Oh, that's Cuckoo and
Not cuckoo, no.
cousin from down the way.
Uncle and them of so and so cousin.
Veronica said I used to watch Zachary Timms,
Yep.
And he was on the Word Channel,
He
and
was.
it
I
was
used to
just
watch him
a
a lot,
wonderful preacher.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you all out there, there's times I get tired. Tired. It takes a lot for me to get tired, but there are times I get tired, and people can wreck your nerves sometimes. And we allow it, and that, I always try to catch my language. You got to be careful what you allow. I got to get ready to go. Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaning, 874 East Delavan Avenue, Buffalo, New York. You know what you can do for people? You can go get a gift certificate. If you're trying to find something to buy somebody, go get you a gift certificate. I hope they got gift certificates since I put it out there.
I hope so too.
I hope so.
If not, that's an idea.
Yeah.
Or they could memorialize their loved one who passed away and get the clothes.
No, they don't.
and
They
all
don't do
that.
that to the body.
No, he
The
said-
Oh,
clothes,
you-
like you did for my grand.
Yeah,
with
I
my
know.
grand-
I was being facetious. I took her grandfather's suit
It's okay.
and put it in a box. And where is it at now?
It's in my closet on the top shelf. What am I supposed to do with it?
Grandfather on the top shelf in the room.
My dad is, and the pillow is on.
Yeah, the closet is a memorial.
It is not.
And I'm glad we can laugh about it now because I got that suit to make up to her grandfather because the day before he died, he was at our house and she had made him some soup and he was coughing not off the soup. And I said, what'd I say? I said, you all right up there?
He's like, yeah, for somebody with. He
CDP,
named all of these
da-da-da.
things that I did
was
not
like,
know he had.
Oh, shucks. And then the next day,
He died, and then you gonna tell him what you said, or you just gonna go
what
to
did
the
I
next?
say? I got to go.
He ain't died till he ate that 15 bean soup.
Well, speaking of 15 bean soup, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. He came and picked him up. 347 Peckham and 2528 Bailey. He
Haven't
really
made it
did.
since.
Huh?
Haven't made it since.
Yeah, and Providence Funeral Home. Thank you, Brian. And I helped. I was in the room. He took care of the Lee family. Look at my grandson. Took care of the Lee family, the Carr family, the Smith family, Harrison family, Jones family, Hunter family. Until next week.
Power to the people.